Hello there, you're tuning in to 7Edition. I'm Zansha Rahaizad and these are tonight's top stories. Anwar Ibrahim determined to accelerate needs-based economic policy. Companies and corporations can apply for special number plates from JPJ. And at least 4 dead in Los Angeles shooting rampage. We begin the bulletin with this story. Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim is determined to accelerate a needs-based economic policy which will reduce inequality and improve poverty rate. The chairman of the Parliamentary Caucus on Reform and Governance reiterated that the obsolete racial new economic policy must be dismantled, but it must be done with a firm commitment to needs-based affirmative action to help the poor and those who have been sidelined. Datuk Seri Anwar, who was introduced as the next Prime Minister at the Malaysian Economic Symposium at the Parliament building today, said the Pakatan Harapan government under the Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has set the direction for a needs-based economic policy and he will continue the process. He also said the new policy will still be affirmative, but will be needs-based and involve the public and private sectors. In March, the Economic Affairs Ministry said that it would draft a new Malay economic policy that prioritizes growth and guaranteed quality as well as shared prosperity.
I've said that it was quite clear. Number one,
a foreign woman believed to be a sex worker fell to her death from the 5th floor of a hotel in Pudu, Kuala Lumpur early this morning. She was believed to have fled in a bid to avoid arrest by police during an anti-vice raid. Bukit Aman Secret Society's Gambling and Vice Division Assistant Director, ACP Muhammad Hedzir Hussein, said the woman, believed to be from China, tried to escape by climbing the narrow ledge of the hotel building at around 12:15 a.m. There were also 3 other women on the same ledge as the victim, which police, however, had to let them go to avoid any untoward incident. Meanwhile, another 30 foreign women aged between 19 and 51, as well as 93 customers, including 16 foreign nationals aged 18 to 81, were detained for their alleged involvement in prostitution activities. In Perlis, a nasi lemak seller was charged at the Kangar Sessions Court for allegedly neglecting her disabled daughter. The 40-year-old accused, Zarina Murni Muhammad Hashim, had initially pleaded guilty to the charge but changed her plea to not guilty and claimed trial after the charge was read out to her before Judge Ainul Shahrin Muhammad. According to the charges, Zarina was alleged to have neglected her 14-year-old child at a house in Kampung Gial in Arau since last year. She was charged under the Child Act and was allowed bail at 8,000 ringgit with one surety. The court set August 28th for remention. At the Kangar Magistrates Court, a 15-year-old boy pleaded guilty before Magistrate Nurhayati Ibrahim for deliberately injuring the same victim. He was alleged to have used a soldering iron, rubber pipe, and plastic hanger to cause injury on the girl on July 1st. He was charged under the Penal Code, and the court set September 4th for remention of the case. Last week, a video recording of the victim being abused went viral on social media after it was shared by a Twitter user, which sparked outrage among netizens. The owner of a nursery in Shah Alam, where a 9-month-old boy drowned in a bucket of water in the nursery's toilet yesterday, has been remanded for 3 days. Shah Alam Police Chief ACP Baharuddin Mat Taib revealed that the nursery has been operating without a license since December last year. He added that the 30-year-old nursery owner was being investigated under Child Act for negligence. In the 1:45 p.m. incident, one of the 3 caregivers at the nursery found the toddler head first in the bucket, while the other two were engaged in an activity for the children in a room. They rushed the boy to a clinic in Jalan Kebun and then took him to the Tengku Ampuan Rahimah Hospital in Klang, but unfortunately he was pronounced dead at 4 p.m. The boy has been going to the nursery, which takes care of 25 children, for less than 2 weeks. In other news, 3 men and a woman were remanded for 7 days in connection with the murder case of an elderly couple in Nilai, Negeri Sembilan on Wednesday. Yesterday, police said the 2 senior citizens whose remains were found in their house, which was on fire in Taman Desa Melati, were actually murdered. Several stab wounds and slashes were found on several parts of the bodies of 73-year-old Tan Kim Ju and 67-year-old Ng Chong Hua. Police are investigating the case under the Penal Code for murder. 2 men aged 26 and 27 were nabbed yesterday in a snatch theft case after targeting a Chinese tourist and took off with her handbag. The victim suffered injuries to her face, arms, and legs when she fell due to the incident in Cheras around 3:40 p.m. on Wednesday. Police said the 44-year-old woman lost her passport, mobile phone, 4,000 ringgit in cash, as well as a silver bangle. Both were tested positive for methamphetamine. In Penang, 6 more Road Transport Department (JPJ) officers were charged in the Sessions Court for receiving bribes from a transport company director to protect his lorry drivers. The 6 enforcement assistants were slapped with 41 corruption charges amounting to 10,900 ringgit. All of them pleaded not guilty to all the charges, which were read out to them separately before Judge Nizam Zakaria. The court granted them bail of between 8,000 and 10,000 ringgit each and fixed September 24th for mention of their cases. Companies and corporations can now apply for special number plates from the Road Transport Department (JPJ). The price tag, 5 million ringgit, and it comes with plates starting from 1 to 1,000. Additional 1,000 numbers will cost another 1 million ringgit. JPJ will evaluate each application to make sure that they do not clash with current numbers in the system. This decision follows the announcement from Transport Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook yesterday that private universities will be allowed to apply for special number plates. The online bidding of number plates through the department's e-bid system since last April has helped the government collect 9.6 million ringgit in revenue. The next bidding will be for Penang plates with the PPC series. Bids for the numbers start on August 2nd, and JPJ is expecting to collect between 600,000 to 1 million ringgit in revenue from it. Lately, Terengganu seems to be a magnet for whales. Barely 9 days after a pair of killer whales were sighted in Terengganu waters, for the first time ever, a pod of short-finned pilot whales made an appearance on Wednesday. The marine mammals were observed by several fishermen who managed to record the encounter near Pulau Perhentian in a 40-second video. The Fisheries Research Institute later confirmed this particular species of whales is reportedly almost extinct. Pilot whales have become endangered and also nearly wiped out in some parts of the world like Japan, Philippines, China, Taiwan, and Vietnam. One or two? When we return, extreme heat sweeps across Europe. More after this. Stay with us. We're back with foreign news. A 26-year-old who embarked on a shooting rampage that left 4 dead, beginning with his own family and ending with a stranger on a bus, was arrested on Thursday afternoon. This after a 12-hour-long manhunt that casted a shadow of fear across the sweltering San Fernando Valley. Still armed with the gun authorities allege he used in the crime, Jerry Dean Zaragoza was taken into custody about 2:30 p.m. The suspect suffered minor injuries during during the arrest and was taken away in handcuffs on a stretcher. The shootings and manhunt happened amid a stifling heat wave in which temperatures reached nearly 100 degrees in the area. The killings prompted a San Fernando Valley-wide tactical alert, doubling the patrol effort in the region. Extreme heat was felt across Europe, from the United Kingdom to France, which suffered its hottest day ever. Residents across Europe suffered a second day of record-setting heat on Thursday, as the second heat wave of the summer continues to bake the region. Prita Manivanan has the details.
Hot and dry air originating from northern Africa, trapped between cold, stormy systems, was the culprit for the miserable conditions in northern Europe. This hit the United Kingdom, France, Belgium, Luxembourg, Switzerland, the Netherlands, as well as Germany. Temperatures in Paris were the highest, reaching 42.6 Celsius, as tourists and residents alike sought a relief in public fountains. The extreme heat caused travel disruption through France, where authorities urged travelers to avoid public transit and stay home. Meanwhile, in the UK, temperatures stayed below 40 degrees Celsius, with 36.9 degrees recorded at London's Heathrow Airport. Transportation was also disrupted, as trains were cancelled or forced to slow down to prevent tracks buckling in the heat. Meteorologists predict the intense heat will drop on Friday and Saturday across the region. Scientists expect heat waves to become more common as a result of global warming from greenhouse gas emissions. Prita Manivanan for 7Edition.
It's time for our daily segment, Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending and making rounds in the cyber world today. Remember Chegu Uzair, who went viral with his unconventional and fun ways of teaching mathematics? Well, another teacher recently made waves for turning additional mathematics, or ADMATS, commonly known as one of the most painful subjects to endure, into one loved and enjoyed by students. Here are the details.
This is Fatih Hussein, a young ADMATS tutor from Cheras who is taking social media by storm, known for his fast-paced teaching and solving complex equations in a heartbeat. Take a look at one of his latest upbeat tutoring and you'll see why.
Find bearing P from R. Kalau bahasa Melayunya, P dari R. P dari R. Dari mana? Dari R. Dari. So kalau ini you punya R, kita akan gariskan, betul? Soalan R nak gariskan ke mana? Utara. Tapi utara awak ke So kenapa macam ni? Setuju So ni akan jadi apa? Utara. Kalau dari R start daripada R tapi pandang atas ke start dengan bawah? So you akan bergerak ke sini ke sana? Sebab apa? Dia mesti arah ke lawan arah jam. Okey, jadi maknanya awak akan dapat sini sampailah ke P. Tolong stopkan saya. Tolong stopkan saya. So 1, 2, 3. Belum.
Among the math topics explored by the math whiz include probability distribution, inverse functions, bearings, as well as gradients and graphs. As his videos increasingly gain attention, this father of two has garnered over 62,000 followers, and you can only bet that his fan base is only growing bigger.
And sama dengan, and this will be all final answer. That's all from me.
After the break, want to catch Leonardo da Vinci's paintings in KL? Details next. Thanks for staying with us. Apple will acquire the majority of Intel's smartphone modem business for $1 billion. The company's announced today. Around 2,200 Intel employees will join Apple, and Apple will acquire IP and equipment from Intel as well. The transaction is expected to close towards the end of the year. Intel CEO Bob Swan said the acquisition will allow the company to focus on developing other 5G technologies. This also means that Apple is is now well on the way to producing its own 5G modems for its smartphones rather than having to rely on Qualcomm for the hardware. Apple only recently resolved its long-running dispute with the chip maker, and when it did, Intel lost no time in announcing that it would be exiting the 5G phone business as a direct result of the settlement. Google parent Alphabet's stock price leapt on Thursday after reporting stronger than expected results in a quarterly update coming amid growing scrutiny of technology firms by antitrust regulators. The internet giant said profits tripled in the second quarter from a year earlier to $9.9 billion, while revenues increased 19% to $38.9 billion. Shares in Alphabet rallied some 9% in after-hours trade on the report. Also helping shares was an announcement that the company would spend an additional $25 billion on stock buybacks. Profits were sharply higher than the same period last year when Google was forced to pay a $5 billion fine to settle antitrust actions in the European Union. The strong results come with Google expected to face tough scrutiny in the US, where antitrust regulators have begun a review on online platforms over competition concerns. Shares on Bursa Malaysia closed lower today as the European Central Bank (ECB) put off an anticipated rate cut. With the ECB meeting adjourned, investors would turn their focus to the US Federal Reserve's decision on interest rates next week, which may help provide some fresh leads to the market. The FBMK LCI eased 8.62 points or 0.52% to the day's low of 1,647 points versus 1,656 recorded on Thursday. On to stocks to watch. Genting Malaysia Berhad is poised to deliver more upside amid news of its lawsuit settlement with 21st Century Fox and Walt Disney over the company's long-stalled outdoor theme park project. Genting is allowed to use certain Fox's intellectual properties, which means less dismantling costs, while construction work can resume soon, quickening its opening. Next, British American Tobacco Malaysia Berhad's earnings fell below analyst expectations as sales volume shrank on top of rising operating expenditure. While the company is relentless in its effort to combat declining sales, the affordability issue would continue to haunt the group for the foreseeable future, no thanks to growing illicit cigarette market in Malaysia. Last but definitely not least, BIMB Holdings Berhad, which share price has lost as much as 5% over the last 3 weeks, has turned favorable again after recording higher sales in its family Takaful business. The company will benefit from the rosy Takaful outlook, backed by positive structural drivers like an under-penetrated market, rising medical inflation, and flourishing Islamic banking sector. Ardent art lovers are in for a treat as they can now view all of the remaining oil paintings by prolific Italian painter Leonardo da Vinci here in Malaysia. The curated traveling exhibition Leonardo Opera Omnia was brought to our shores for the first time by the Italian Foreign Affairs Ministry together with its embassy in Kuala Lumpur. The collection, which are his works of art that have survived to modern day, including his most famous paintings, are now on display at the National Art Gallery. Miza Shafiza Muhammad Fuad has the story.
Leonardo Opera Omnia is an innovative, ambitious project aiming to share Italian cultural heritage by exhibiting digital paintings. Now, as you can see here, this is a high-definition, true-to-size reproductions of Leonardo's 17 paintings, which are scattered at various museums all around the world. Now, visitors can expect masterpieces like, of course, Mona Lisa and The Last Supper to be reproduced in their own original dimensions, respectively. The exhibition was held to commemorate the 500th anniversary of the artist's passing. It was also to expose the public to European civilization as well as showcase the Renaissance era through visual information drawn by the great master in the 16th century. Although many Malaysians recognize Leonardo and his artworks, they might not have the chance to view all of them as they would need to travel the world to see the original pieces. Therefore, the exhibition is a golden opportunity for art enthusiasts here to admire the exclusive Da Vinci artworks all in one place.
I think this is one of its kind and a most important exhibition that we can bring to Malaysia and for the Malaysian people. It is good to have our Malaysian to be exposed to European art.
The idea of the traveling exhibition of well-known artists like Leonardo, and last year we did Caravaggio in the National Art Gallery, is a fantastic opportunity to develop our cultural ties between Italy and Malaysia in order to strengthen our relation and to let Malaysian people know a little bit more about the Italian culture.
The iconic paintings representing Da Vinci's artistic path were reproduced using sophisticated digital reproduction techniques that include placing the viewer virtually in front of some of the original works. Thanks to the creatively regulated lights, the paintings elicit the emotions one would normally experience when standing in front of the actual art pieces and provide an extraordinary vantage point in understanding Da Vinci's creative genius.
It's very interesting that an exhibition like this can actually come to Malaysia, because I've always been fascinated by the artwork by Leonardo da Vinci and the kind of Renaissance painting that he does. It's free as well to actually just try to explore and then get new insight of the different kind of artwork that the world has to offer.
I was so surprised because Mona Lisa is here and there's an exhibition here, so it's amazing.
Yeah.
You should come.
Everybody should come. It's like it's not really normal for Malaysian to expose to this kind of art, and also it's really big and interesting.
Leonardo Opera Omnia, which was launched recently by Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Datuk Muhammadin Ketapi, is available for public viewing until August 15th. Miza Shafiza for 7Edition.
Want to take a break from the hustle and bustle of city life? For those living in the Klang Valley, enjoying barbecue while sitting in the river and listening to the serene sounds of nature may just be the escape for you.
A couple had set up this unique restaurant called BBQ Lamb KL Kemansah, where patrons can enjoy eating an array of dishes while dipping their feet in the cooling river. Best of all, it's located just in Ulu Klang, not far from Kuala Lumpur. For customers, being close to nature is one of its most attractive features, as the restaurant offers them a temporary escape. According to the restaurant owners, Zainuddin Yatim and Ibariyanumi Ibrahim, the restaurant's patrons also get to see fish swimming around in the crystal clear water while having sumptuous food.
Sambil kita makan, kita boleh santai, boleh menikmati udara yang nyaman apabila kita berada di Kuala Lumpur tu dengan hiruk pikuk. Di sini kita akan dengar bunyi burung, bunyi air. Kalau waktu malam kita akan dengar bunyi cengkerik, daripada situ kita akan menikmati makanan kita dengan lebih tenang.
The restaurant offers various menus from seafood, beef, and chicken, depending on the patron's taste. It also offers sets for couples, as well as large portions, which can be shared by up to 6 people or more.